B versus Corvinus, and it's going to start with Cliffside. Let it go.
Yeah, you know what else is long? The previous series that we've just witnessed, that was definitely on the longer side of things, but Corvinus versus B coming up here, another elimination match, and we're kicking this off with Cliffside. And it looks like we're going to have a set of maps that we haven't really seen so far today. Moving out potentially a candidate like Side. I honestly totally forgot that these maps are even in the map pool. So far, we've just been watching standard classic maps.
Yeah, and an interesting opening game, one that historically Delhi should do pretty good in. Let's find out if Corvinus' creativity can exude through here. We open up B versus Corvinus, an elimination series here. B on the Delhi, Corvinus on the Malians. As a good old return to Cliffside.
Oh boy, Cliffside Corvinus versus B here. And, you know, this is also a super tough group for these players to play in. Puppy Paw being the champion of the group as things stand, he's qualified for playoffs. And the winner of this series is going to play Vortex in the Deciders tomorrow. So definitely a challenging group for these two players to compete in. But at the same time, you never know, especially because, you know, when you take a look at B versus Vortex, for instance, that's usually a, highly competitive matchup historically. We haven't really seen Corvinus play that much against Vortex before, and right now he is the underdog heading into this set. But you never know. Maybe he's got something cooked up, and maybe he is going to be able to surprise B over here. He does have Malians, and I gotta say, I think Malians is definitely a civilization with which underdogs can surprise more, I guess, higher-seeded players.
It's interesting. Malians definitely have the Furumba-esque builds, which can offer some routes to success, but it does feel like Delhi's bread and butter Gazi can be a little bit dominant here. Even more so when you look at the spawn, Corvinus, he has got a back spawn and gold, great start, but the secondary gold veins aren't going to be feeling very feasible here. So curious how he wants to approach this. Typically, you are going to be looking at Pro Scouts as the just organic play, and he already has one safe deer pack behind. The cool thing about Pro Scouts against Delhi can't really rush it. You end up getting Pro Scouts about 2 to 3 times faster, bare minimum, than the timing they're capable of. Trade-off, of course, being that Delhi will have more military units. Wondering, actually. Yeah, I was about to say, Dome of Faith should be standard. Corvinus, is there a world in which you don't Pro Scouts it? It feels almost impossible. Oh, wow, yeah, so that was the other thing I was looking for. If we were going to get it, it is going to be a Saharan trade network build.
Ooh. Now, one thing I love about Corvinus sets is that he always has something cooked up. He kind of needs it, I think, in many of these series, but Corvinus is definitely one of the more entertaining players to watch because he is just as far away from standard gameplay as humanly possible. It's always some weird and janky stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but for sure, Corvinus sets are always entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it must be pumped up on to just come up with these wacky strategies, but occasionally it does pay off. Then again, B is also just as creative a player. Some of his executions have been ridiculous to watch. In the weeklies, Ben was mentioning that and how, in the KP's midweek musters, he'd been doing quite well, feeling pretty well. B has started the year off phenomenally well. He got second place in the All-Stars tournament in December, and so far has kicked off the year winning back-to-back weeklies. So really dominant force there. Some top contenders are in there against him as well, and you're always seeing very creative strategies out of him, right? So curious to see how he wants to approach this. He is one of the players that can be lured into the beauty of Elephant plus Springald. And admittedly, Malians is a decent sieve to do that against if they're going for, say, a Freeborn or Musafadi Flood.
I'm curious how Corvinus is going to approach this, from the start. Saharan Trade Network, interesting landmark to open with, but what's going to be more interesting is, I think, how Corvinus contests the map and how B is going to approach the sacred sites here. Because one thing on Cliffside is that it's actually very easy to just wall off these choke points and make it difficult for your opponent to take away the sacred sites from you. So if you're B, I think that's the direction that you're going. And then, of course, you do have Pro Scouts coming in on both sides. I think For B, he just queued it up behind all the other eco techs, so it's the classic.
Yeah.
Actually, wait a minute.
Survival techniques
Did he,
first
I
is
think
kind
he
of
just
peculiar.
moved it, right? Because he already started doing the other techs.
Yeah, he did switch them around. Yes, Pro Scouts coming through now. That's fine, though. It makes sense. Like, you know there's going to be Pro Scouts from the Corvinus Malians, but, like, your response now is you just organically get to yours. You can, in the meantime, put pressure on with your own troops. So we will see the Ghazi opening. Likely we're going to be getting a Spimmin follow-up. It just feels like a really healthy comp. Ghazi, your premium cav, and Spimmin will be able to counter certain things like jab play, and also just do quite well if they're able to catch the Warrior Scouts.
Yeah, you definitely need something to escort your scouts if you're B. If you're trying to play Pro Scouts yourself, you're not going to do that against Warrior Scouts without an escort. But at the same time, if Corvinus goes exclusively to Warrior Scouts, then Ghazi Raider plus Spearman is going to be a really good matchup here for B.
Sanctity should be ticking pretty soon as well. With such a wide spread and the locations of the deer, I don't think Corvinus can easily block and gather at the same time. That's the whole idea, is the Ghazi should be directing pressure towards your opponent. Cool thing is, like, did he actually shove in the deer? Because I think Corvinus maybe missed a trick here. With the Saharan trade network location, he could have shoved the deer quite close to the gold vein and then just had safe gathering. But I think instead he just sniped them down. So it looks like B got there before he could do anything about it.
Well, to Corvinus' credit, that pack is so close, and he's got a Warrior Scout, so he should be able to carry those in. But indeed, things could have been slightly more optimal for him. For now, B is only 2 Ghazi Raiders, and that's basically it. Goes for Scouts right away. He's opening Blacksmith as well. Yeah. So it looks like there is no second production building for B just yet.
Yeah, usually you see people try to maybe block the Pro Scouts play on the other side, like severely block it, but this was a very casual blocking. So it's almost like he wanted Corvinus to panic react. I think in B's perception, what was meant to happen here is he reveals Ghazi, Corvinus panics and adds in Donzo, and then you're like, haha, I'm actually Pro Scouting. But he didn't take the bait. You can see what Corvinus is really up to. This is a very aggressive fast castle Malian build.
Yeah, this is... I gotta say, I like this build a lot from Corvinus against B, and I'm actually thinking Farimba here.
Yeah, it has to be Farimba. There's no way.
It's the good old-fashioned Farimba build. I remember back when Malians came out, Farimba was actually the go-to landmark before the cow builds really started to come online. And fair enough, the Farimba gives you insane military momentum and allows for almost all-in style early Castle Age pushes. I think knowing Corvinus and knowing he's probably the underdog in this series, you probably feel like he just wants to hit that early Castle Age timing and say, okay, this game is going to last 15 minutes or less, whether I win or lose.
Yeah, and you know, it should be the freeborn choice, just kind of a flood down the center. There is a possibility for Javelineers in some comps, but against Ghazi, it feels like a death sentence. So just expect those really, really tanky melee units to be coming out for this play. We'll want to be getting extra wood to prep the rats. Scholar is going to get blocked here. Just too many Warrior Scouts for the Ghazi to do anything about.
Nice little snipe. And B is still just going Ghazi Raiders here. He actually was on 2 Ghazi for quite some time, just now started adding more. He himself is trying to get to Castle Age, but you know, the tricky thing is that he doesn't really have a lot of sacred sites. And sure, he's got 8 scholars out there, but initially you're not going to have them used to your research. You're going to start moving out towards the relics.
You say he hasn't got a lot of sacred sites. He's got 2, right? And that's more than enough. Like, if you're stuck on 1, it feels pretty bad. But we do have Rax Rush, so yeah, there's 2 possibilities. Either Corvinus goes for Freeborn, which I think gets countered by War Elephant, or you go for Mansa Musafadi, which might have some potency against an Elephant opening from B.
For now, it's just a little cavalry skirmish. No second unit coming in here for B, but then again, he hasn't yet clicked Castle. He has had those resources for quite some time, but he's just now going to click up. Corvinus is going to have a pretty sizable window here, I would say, in terms of Castle Age timing.
Oh, moment of truth. And it is going to be the Freeborn. So 175 HP units that technically don't really have many counter units, shall we say. Not since they fixed that funny bug from the pup test, where these units that are meant to counter ranged used to have the light tag, which meant that archers actually killed them. Now, they just come with 5 ranged armor. They have no light tag. They are just a melee infantry unit. So it's very difficult to actually find a counterplay to these things with traditional means.
All right, here we go. Corvinus coming in with the Freeborn. That's another Scholar sniped out here. Looks like B is just willing to stay. He's got a lot of Scholars out there, so I'm not totally surprised.
Yeah, it's 65 gold loss, right? It's like, it's worth the risk. If you get the capture, it immediately pays for itself. In fact,
And it also
he
buys
ambitiously
time.
tries it again. Yeah.
I think one key thing here is that as long as the Scholars are being beaten up, it's not your villagers, it's not your age up being harassed. It definitely buys time for B to get to Castle Age and just essentially make sure that those warrior scouts aren't harassing him while doing so.
That's pretty greedy from B. Going for the widest relic instead of the closer one. Like right now, he only has one relic coming home. Corvinus is pumping the Freeborn. He's getting ready to make his move. B is going to react with the Lancers. Not a bad idea here, actually. A perfect choice to try and counter this. It doesn't get bonus damage against them, sure, but you've got really good melee armor against a low melee base, and you have substantially more health, right? 175 versus 230. Admittedly, you're paying a much prettier penny here. Corvinus, instead of going Donzo to counter this, he's actually going Mustafadi.
Yeah, that's a little awkward. I think the problem with the Mustafadi against the Knights is that you need to have substantial numbers, otherwise you're just way too fragile. Knights charge in and you're basically losing half of your units already.
Yeah, I think B is just thinking too much about home blades. Like really, genuinely an elephant is just kind of game changing. The problem is if you go elephants, like you just get kited, right? It's like he has to have a justifiable cavalry force before he can then go for something a bit slower, such as those elephants.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of food to work with, but he doesn't have the gold right now. Slowly pushing up the middle though, and he does have 2 sacred sites still. He's also collecting relics. Corvinus wasn't able to leverage this timing really well so far. He's taking the fight in the stealth forest. He doesn't have all his troops near here. He does have a consistent build-up, however, and a lot of the troops from B are beaten up badly, so maybe Corvinus is going to be able to get something out of this timing soon.
And B could be dragging back a lot more beer than this, right? Like the scouts are just kind of AFK on the side of the fight. I think he's got a bit of select all army brain going on. Feels like he's kind of missing the trick here. So pretty much front lines of them. That's not really going to last that long. It's better to stick the guards in the front. Lancers are going to be committing in now. No home blades though, which means that the Mansa Mustafadi will run normal Mustafadi will be able to melt through. And B continues to just stick it into one direction. I mean, we just had a night-only game, and it kind of feels like we're doing it again.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling as well. At the same time, I think maybe Corvinus is overstaying his welcome here a little. He's kind of getting surrounded from 2 sides. B's got a lot of very heavily injured units here. Corvinus has to finish those off. B has done a really good job with the micro, though, and he's keeping a lot of these troops alive while cleaning up Corvinus' forces.
Yeah, nice clean fight there in the end. Corvinus just losing a lot of the backbone of his force of push here. And now B, I mean, it's only 7 scholars. He can't realistically chain heal that well. And also the scholars are busy right now, bring back more relics. One thing that surprised me is B is kind of skimping on scholar production out the Dome of Faith. Like that would kind of fix his issue, and it means that fight after fight after fight will gradually just begin to favor him more and more due to his heal.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I think Corvinus needs an overwhelming force right now, and that's not something that we're seeing. If it wasn't for this initial force getting cleaned up, it would be a rather promising army. But at the end of the day, you're looking at a substantially higher army value for B. 19 knights is no joke, and own blades are coming in slow and steady.
Yeah, and once those relics return, acceleration of the pace here, right? Like more techs faster. Corvinus, I mean, after all the freeborn play, like B's counterplay has completely disarmed him, right? Instead of even using freeborn, it's simply going to be Mustafadi now. Kind of makes you wonder if Donzo's would have just made more sense at this stage. Gives you the brace, gives you a nice counter. Maybe Corvinus' thought is that Mustafadi gives him counter raid potential. But right now, I'm just seeing a man struggling to survive. So with that in mind, focus on the defense. Focus on the Donzo.
Yeah, it's just Mustafadi so far. I think the problem is that Mustafadi are just so fragile.
Yeah.
The knights
they're about
charge
zerging,
in.
right?
They are, and they have bonus damage against heavy units. But you're not going to get any of that bonus damage if you just die on the spot. Look at this, knights charge in, and you lost half of your army already.
It's just also the difference in health, right? Like remember, the knights are high enough base damage that the bonus damage you get as a Mustafadi doesn't really matter here. Difference in health does, right? Like one lance will beat one Mustafadi. With Homeblades coming in, it's going to be even more one-sided. Like, this game looks over. You know, Corvinus, he has limited time to work with because, remember, he did go Pro Scouts. He didn't go Fulani. And at this point, your opponent has 4 relics home, soon to be 5th. Right? Like, what have you really got going for you as Malians to stay in this?
There's just not much. And it's difficult because this whole Zerking idea might just work if it wasn't for the fact that B was able to retain all these knights, and now he's getting elephants, and he's sitting on 4 relics. He's got at least 1 sacred site, and 30 lancers at minute 15 is just almost impossible to stop.
It's kind of a misconception about what Malians is meant to be, right? I said that like a Zerg Civ, but when you don't have Fulani, it's different. You're more quality based, right? So like Farimba has to win you the initial engagements, or you're just eco weak for the next play. It's not like when you have Fulani where you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna open Sofa, and then I'll get more Sofa, and then I'm gonna add him lots of Miss Party. Like, you're missing substantially high amounts of food from your build order here. And just the read by B to go into Lancers was pristine, man. Like, it just completely counters what moves Corvinus potentially had. Freeborn don't work, the Musafadi can't scale quick enough. Now we have the War Elephants. Even archers are coming to play at a point where Corvinus is finally saying, okay, let's go Donzo.
Donzos are the right answers to these units right now. But at the same time, B is already prepping archers. He knows fully well what the natural response is. Now, this is good from Corvinus. One thing that you get with the Musafari is this stealth ability to potentially surprise B. I just don't know if this is going to be enough here. Like, you killed 1 or 2 villagers, sure enough, it's nice, but it doesn't offset the differential of 5 relics to sacred sites. And more importantly, you got to find ways to stop 35 lancers. And even if you have Donzos, you just don't have the mobility to track down all these knights. They're just going to run circles around you.
Well, like, realistically, what stops B from just going into your base right now? Let's just, like, you know, address the elephant in the room. There literally is one here. You know, you have garrison spots for 25 villages. You have 53. Like, if 35 lancers go in, Corvinus is mincemeat.
Yeah, it's 3 sacred sites for B as well. Upgrades are coming in for B. He's going to have full Castle Age upgrades very soon. He already has the eco upgrades. And Corvinus does have a gazillion Donzos. But the moment B starts mixing in some archers, there's going to be nothing that really stops this force. I don't think B needs to rush anything, though. I feel like he's just going to continue running circles around Corvinus and see if he can chip away at the villagers.
Yeah, I think the thing for B is, like, he needs to come to me now, right? Like, I'm just ahead. It's going to take a lot of effort for Corvinus to theoretically get back into this. He definitely needs to start by getting ranches online. But, you know, you need space. You need to start expanding for that. Looks like Corvinus getting ready to march out. This is bold. It's 3 War Elephants. You'd think Donzos would win that fight. You're about to be surprised. He's actually just going to give him space here.
I like this a lot here. I don't think it's a matter of giving space because you're afraid of that army. I think he's trying to lure that army in. Because the moment Corvinus heads to the other side of the ridge, it's going to be exceptionally difficult for him to just pull back and escape those knights. I think right now, B's going to try to bait him out.
I mean, I think B's just going to go Imperial Age.
Maybe.
Look at the macro, right? Like, at this stage, Corvinus is the one who has to make a move. Now, it's a bit risky because B is doing some ballsy things. For example, the east side berry gathering. He's literally right next to Corvinus's base.
That just speaks of the level of confidence that he's playing with right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Corvinus will suspect this is the craziest part. I mean, you can't really march your army out there. Like, if you do, these lancers march in, which is what they're going to do right now. Corvinus needs to be quick on the fingers.
Nope.
Corvinus
is so far away from this.
He doesn't even notice
in
time.
One back at home.
Yeah, the pull a little bit late there, so it will be a club down of several villages. Nice raid there, and nothing lost for B.
Yeah, that's it's just so ugly. Now the Donzos are back at home. Knights will just disengage, and we're just going to have this rinse and repeat. He has all 3 sacred sites, by the way. He's at 7.5 minute countdown.
Gee, what's that? You built a full melee army of infantry? Man, if only there was like a unit that B really likes to build that could be really good against that Lidical.
Like War Elephants?
Yeah, but I'm like, your war elephants are tanky. So a war elephant is like having a big spearman, right? It's like a Springles is like
a
having
very big spearman.
Yeah, a very, very big spearman. Like, he definitely ate all the pie in the family home. So, like, is a Springle just a big archer?
Yeah, kind of. It's a very big archer, and it's great against that infantry clump. B also went heavy on the tower elephants, by the way. It's good. That's a strong front line if I've ever seen one. And let's not forget, Corvinus does have 23 Dunsos, but a lot of his troops are still Mustafari. Those will not survive for extended periods of time. And the thing is that he's just going to get killed off way quicker than he can kill the front line of his opponent in any straight-up battle.
Yeah, it's like, who's going to get concussion first? A scrawny guy with a Kanda or an elephant, right? The answer is pretty obvious. And it's crazy. Like, Corvinus could have 50 spears. The war elephants would still almost win that fight, if not win that fight. It's insane that I can even say that, but the headbutt damage AoE is ridiculous on these things.
And even the scholars are coming in. Scholars are sprinting in.
Fight me, you cowards!
What is that speed on the scholars, though? Like, how are they not tripping in their little roads, just hustling their feet like that?
Oh, it's like when you see someone with like one of the tight dresses and they're able to scurry across really quickly, like the small foot movements. That's what it is. These guys, they're probably extras from the Doom set. They know how to do the sandwalk as well efficiently. They can do it all. Just like these elephants that right now are not only a scary front line, but also a ram.
They are. It's essentially your siege to take out buildings with. And Corvinus does have this choke point, and oftentimes I see a cavalry-heavy player just struggling to breach an enemy base when you have choke points and a bunch of spears.
Not this type of cavalry.
Exactly. B is just going to be like,
oh
choke
my
points?
god!
I will just open this up. Same with the villagers and their bellies being opened up.
Oh, Corvinus promised to make this quick. He hasn't GG'd yet, though. The Springles, I mean, this is the perfect place to fight. Like, your base is your tomb here. You are lining up for full penetration. Oi, oi, oi. The Lancers haven't even joined in. I guess that makes this kind of a fair fight. It's basically the big archers and the big spears. But look at how quickly he melts. Delhi versus Malians is a bloody nightmare.
Oh boy, there we go. B with the 1-0. He's just... I don't know what to say about this matchup, KP. It has been interesting, to say the least. Besides that, I mean, I felt like Corvinus had the head start going into Castle Age and wanted to execute a timing attack. It didn't come together, and that was basically it.
Yeah, I mean, well, Marlins being from Africa, this must be very confusing. Because I think quite often, like, down that region, lions are meant to be the king of the jungle, but not here. No. Elephants are most definitely the true king of the jungle. And B, looking as good as always in this opening game. Corvinus is going to have to dig deep to even put a dent in this lad right now.
He has to. It's just going to be so difficult because, again, when the dust settles, what are you going to do? Like, what is your win condition? How is this going to come together?
Uh-oh. That's an also pick, and it ain't a meme. So B, Cat, they've been quite obsessed with these auto builds recently. Curious that we're going to be seeing it on moving out, though. I mean, he didn't really have any other crazy options per se, other than maybe English, which I think he wants to say for Lakeside. Usually, B and Cat were playing this on Lakeside, so definitely curious to see what the execution is going to be. We have to remember Ottomans haven't been seen much since their rework, where they got a lot of extra Vizier points now, and admittedly, alongside that, got a lot of nerfs.
I'm just happy to see moving out, to be honest. And this is such a bad matchup for Corvinus in a way. Because if it was against anyone else, Corvinus would be like, yeah, let's do moving out. I like to play crazy games. I like to play chaotic games, and my opponent doesn't. But guess what? B does like his own chaotic games here as well. So to a certain extent, you are going into the Lion's Den here. We head to moving out for game number 2. B with a 1-0 lead against Corvinus once again. The winner of this series will face Vortex tomorrow in the group stage deciders. The loser is going to be eliminated. And we will have B in command of the Ottomans with the color yellow, and on the other side, Corvinus with the red Rus.
And it already begins. B is paranoid about a Kremlin rush here, so we'll just get the wall up just to be safe. Actually, you can still Kremlin rush in the center, right? Like, it's interesting. Moving out can usually be dominated by the civ that has a defensive landmark. And I say defensive in the funkiest way possible, because it can be a very offensive landmark with a shared wood line. But B, he doesn't really have that type of option, right? It's Madrissa or Sultani trade network. We're probably going to be seeing the Sultani, but just because you don't really need extra food, you're going to have fishing for that. The gold trickle is really nice as well, because it means if you do get shut off of the mainlands, you'll still have some way of producing.
Fair enough. It's going to be utter chaos, though, and I'm wondering what the game plan is here for either side. B has walled off the south. He did not wall off the north just yet, as I'm saying that. That's going to happen as we speak. And Corvinus plays the hunting cabin towards the middle first and then canceled it. You can actually see the foundations of it. Makes me wonder why exactly he did that. That opening looks very inviting for a certain landmark.
Yeah, we're not letting that through, though. Not on the other side, at least. So, like, the good news is if a Kremlin drop gets done in the center, you can just dodge north-south, right? Like, there's still plenty of wood to go around. And one cool thing as well for B is you have to remember that for him, scaling fishing is cheaper. Lodges are very expensive for Roos. The other interesting part is the dock costs, right? So if you want to go more extensive with your dock play, you do have the 100 wood cost instead of the 150.
Before we go any further, though, I do want to ask you, this is some little AoE trivia. Do you know the original name of this map? Because this is a concept that does exist in, I think, AoE 2 as well. Well, I know it exists in AoE 2. I just don't know if it was carried over directly or this was just essentially the same concept. But do you actually know the original name of this map?
Judging by some of the names in the past, I'm going to go with plus with a hole in it.
No, it's actually called Hamburger.
Why? I know the tree line makes it look like a hamburger, I get, but why?
Because you're sandwiched together on an island.
Then just call it sandwich.
But no, because it's round.
Yeah.
So it looks like a bun, and the tree line is the meat. And then there's
that's what I was saying.
bun.
I guess that's why they go for it. But I mean, if the meat was green, I'd throw it out.
But
I don't know.
You have red and
eating.
yellow in the middle, so you've got your ketchup, you've got your mustard. What else do you want?
A patty that isn't green. Maybe I'm too fussy, but I don't know. I might send that back to the chef. So we do have a move out in the meantime. Gold is being gathered, and for Corvinus, he doesn't care. He doesn't need it because hunting cabins plus a golden gate is all that he needs in his world.
I love how B moved out early on. I think you kind of need to do that just to make sure that you don't get into any super chaotic scenarios here. And I would actually love to see him being maybe a little bit more proactive, moving his lumberjacks out as well. I think if you're looking at Corvinus here, I would expect some level of chaos coming in. This tower is just going to be to boost the lumberjacks, but as time goes on, these towers will get more and more threatening for B.
True, but at least it's not a Kremlin, right? The Gatling gun mode is going to be a problem. We do have the dock drops coming in both north and south, and this is the thing I was warning about, right? At this stage, would you like to count the amount of docks that Corvinus has?
Well, I'm not really good at mathematics, but I don't really need to really use my brain for this. Right now, he's sitting on none. And I wonder what the game plan is here for Corvinus, because, okay, you're feudal age, welcome. You're kind of stuck on an island. What is the game plan?
I think he's just going to outpost rush him.
But here's the thing.
It's a ram rush outpost
he's making a
rush.
range. He's making a range.
Yeah, and
so
a
here's what you do
right?
if you're B. You flee. If you're B, you just make 1 or 2 combat ships and prevent Corvinus from coming onto the water. And then flee the central island. You've got your transport. Just migrate out, and that's basically it.
Okay, hear me out. You ego chow him. You have got Sipahi. You also have got fishing. And your opponent is building archers and rams?
Maybe.
He doesn't have the food to build spearmen. He legitimately has no food income.
That is actually... What even am I watching?
You are watching a man speed running Elimination.
Oh boy, I'm starting to see what's going on here. He's trading on the market. He made a market because his idea is that I'm not collecting food. I have a little gold trickle, but this is all about saying, okay, I have the golden gate, and I will be selling my wood to get all the resources I need, and then I'll YOLO push this.
Yeah, well, he's just like buying his way into food for victory. But like the only way this remotely works is if he pulls all the villagers, and even then, it's a punt and a Hail Mary.
Now, here's the thing. One thing I forgot about when I said, you know, the whole escape idea is that you gotta keep your landmarks alive.
Wait, yeah, but B's rushing Castle Age, so...
I think so. I think if you're B, you're rushing Castle and you're building your third landmark on the outside and say, okay, you destroyed 2 of my landmarks, and then considering that this is an Omega all-in, good luck following that up with anything.
And keep in mind, the gold gathering's on the outer island. He has got fishing. Like, he will get what he needs to go Castle Age. He even has a bunch of sheep waiting here to be gathered later. So...
yeah, it's a matter of whether he can do this in time, because Corvinus is going to have 3 rams out here.
But, like, do the mathematics on that. 3 rams, 200 damage each. They attack every, what, 5 seconds?
Yeah, now B is fine. Just looking at the resources, he's going to be fine.
Yeah. So, like, the funny
a couple
part
of moments
is...
ago, it didn't look that good. But now that he had all the drop-offs, it's looking pretty healthy. And let's not forget, Corvinus, he needs to chop his way through first. B's using that transport just to scout the back of the base, realizing that there is nothing going on. They're all concerned about a potential chop-through. It would be nice to see B's line of sight right now, just to show the viewers that he actually doesn't know how deep Corvinus is into that forest, and this tower is going to be the one that's telling him.
I gotta say, villagers, I mean, in general, units in AoE4 are bloody blind. Like, if we show full vision, there's literally 1 or 2 trees in the way. You think you'd see people running around in full-blown red and yellow camouflage in a green-brown, like, tree line, you know?
And now you build a tower that's taller than the trees, and you still don't see them.
Right?
Said that B is aging, which means that nothing that Corvinus does on this little island will eliminate B. Best thing he can do is just completely destroy his base and say, okay, you restart on the outside, and then B's gonna be like, sure, and you just do your thing in the middle, because it's not like there is much to be done in the middle.
I mean, honestly, I think B just
He
ego
just
challenge. No, I want an ego challenge. I want an ego challenge crap right now.
Nah. He's just
getting out of
leaving.
it though. He's like, okay, I mean, you can have the island. There's no food here anyway.
You know what the real Chad move would be? The moment you see the 7 rams close in, you just delete your buildings.
I mean, he's not Mongol, but yeah, I see where you got. Yeah, the demoralization factor. Because like now you just build. All you have to do now is just build a few like archer ships, and keep them on the island, right? Like, congratulations, this is now prison. Welcome to Alcatraz.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? From here on out, all that B needs to do is just chill on the outside and say, okay. What?
Yeah, he's wait. So, okay, so he's ram rushing.
Is he ram rushing the landmark on the outside?
I don't think so. I think the idea was to Normandy the TC. Yeah, like because the walls, because
I think he wanted to chop through. I genuinely think he wanted to chop through, but he couldn't in time, and then he saw the Castle Age. Think about this, KP. Corvinus knows fully well that the 3rd landmark is going to be outside. So he needs a transport anyways. Why wait to chop through when you can just transport your stuff through? And now this makes things interesting, because if you send that 1 ram with the 9 archers to the outside, there's nothing that B can do to stop it. Like, hold on, this is not over yet.
I legit think the transport ship saved him maybe 10 seconds going around there.
But I mean, again, you have to get to the outside anyways. So sure, it's not helpful right now, but you have a 3rd landmark to take out.
But hear me out. I now see your rams, and I'm just prepping Sapai. Surely B is just going to prep Sapai.
Can you show that in the queue, please?
Like, just, yeah, right?
Okay,
it's going to be there in a second. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
So the villagers also can just kind of cheese you out a little bit here, right? Like you can just dodge the arrow shots coming in. So the archers have to stand here. They have to rush for the TC. There's only 6 of them left. Torch is gonna get holds. He will be able to start mopping up the ramps here. And the archers are just gonna start dying.
This is so over.
Maybe in gold? Not so much in tournament. I mean, he should get through the TC.
But if he loses all the archers, the villagers will escape. Like, what's the point?
I mean, like, at this stage, yeah, we're just going to leave.
Or just force repair.
Golf clappers. Well done, lads. All right. Big pat on the back, and it's not even going to be Sapai. He's just getting knights ready.
Oh! He's trying to snipe the villagers, though, inside the transport, but the galley in itself isn't enough.
I mean, maybe if he had, like, 5 archer ships, maybe. Villagers are just going to be able to shuffle away.
I mean... if he snipes that galley, this could have been an actual competitive game to a certain extent.
I mean, he still would be playing with no food. But you're right, it would be a lot closer.
Well, wait, there is sheep under the enemy TC.
Wow, there we go. Okay, so bring the scout back. And you know, the ego chow. Just come over, drop a hunting cabin here, and we got food again. Right? Like Corvinus's people just, like, they ventured out of the fallout shelter like, we ran out of canned food! Finally! It's been years! We've been eating spam this whole time!
He needs to make a new TC because otherwise he cannot make villagers. That's something I need to keep an eye out on. Luckily for him, Corvinus doesn't have a food eco either, so I don't think he's been making villagers for the last like 5 minutes anyways.
I mean, I wonder if B just builds another TC.
Yeah, he should.
This game is so... Oh, dude, this map never fails to deliver.
I love this map. I know some people hate it, but this is the ultimate madness map. Now, here's the thing. Corvinus is trying to snipe docks because... Corvinus is trying to snipe docks because B is making ships because B doesn't want Corvinus to ever reach the land. And now he transports the knights into the middle island. I did not expect that, I'm not gonna lie, but that must be it.
I'm waiting for this, man. They've just been sitting there. They're like, soon we will return to our homelands to reclaim it, brothers. And the mango's here too. Wait,
you can't do him like that.
Surely not. Surely he hasn't even built the rest of the wall yet. I mean, yeah, okay, this is a great wall, but wait, what are we doing? Oh. And now he's body blocked out. And he's dead.
Well, I think I prefaced this whole series saying that, okay, you know, Corvinus is known for delivering entertaining series. That, I think, we have checked that box.
And we are, you know, we're getting close to being back on track for the schedule. I mean, we're still like an hour over. Actually, I think we're going to be probably an hour and a half to 2 hours over when we were meant to start the final series. But we are getting back to on schedule-ish, and it's starting to look like it's going to be a 3-0.
I genuinely wonder what would have happened if Corvinus didn't commit to like 9 rams. It's tricky because he needed to make sure he takes out the buildings, but this game kind of fell apart when B was able to get to Castle Age on the outside. From there on out, there was absolutely no way that you can landmark snipe him.
But at that stage, you know, you've spent 9 minutes of the game not gathering food, just relying on like trade. You're kind of locked into this play at that stage, Lidicor.
No, I'm just saying, like, okay, he had the ghost signal when he had like 9 rams or so. Could this have been done with like 7 or so to make it tighter? I genuinely don't know. I don't think that's the case. But the point is, B diagnosed what was coming, and the moment he was able to get to the outside area and get that landmark up there, this game was basically over.
So, we are going to be heading into map number 3, Kerlaugar. Jean versus Mongols.
Kerlaugar. It's gonna be some. It's gonna be some weird John Cheese.
Outpost rush. So basically, both sides are going to outpost rush, I think, is what we're getting.
Very possible. One thing is sure, we might just get back on schedule if things continue the way they are.
I mean, I heard Corvinus has a package to pick up, so
He
I
said
guess
that the
that.
drop-off site was 24/7, okay? So he could be
Oh,
playing
okay.
5 more hours.
I mean, at this rate, it doesn't feel like the package is going to be a T-shirt that says "Congratulations on a win over B." This is looking pretty brutal. 2-0 lead so far. For those just tuning in, you have missed meme extravaganza. We may now reach a new level of memery. I know that Corvinus is quite a fervent believer in Jean on hypermaps, right? So like the whole idea is that if you can force boat on boat action, Jean can snipe them down, and she also gets a lot of XP. I don't think Kerlaugar is the map that really gets that, right? Like it's not like, for example, Canal, where you could see people adding 8 boats into a fight.
No, I don't think so. It's Kerlaugar is a weird map in a way because boats can have an effect, but at the same time, the game might just shape out in a way that they are totally useless. And they are very much offset to the flanks. So if you have most of the action going on in the middle of the map, those boats will be very much useless.
So we won't get to see Lakeside, maybe. I'm kind of curious actually, because like actually, no, I'm not that curious. I'll be totally real with you. Like French, English have been like some of the lead picks, and Japanese, I don't know, have been kind of falling apart on that map. So if we go deeper, Borderland has some potential there, right? He has got IU or Byzantines. Likely we see HRE. HRE versus IU can be tight. But maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm just being a little bit too positive. Lytical, he has to make it past this right now. Jean, definitely a Civ that I think has been struggling for quite some time. It's really bad when you even see people on Twitch saying Jean needs a buff. Never thought I'd read that. So let's see if Corvinus can buff up his chest and get a point on the board. We head into Kerlaugar, B with the Mongols, and Corvinus with his Jean. This might end up being the quickest game so far.
That would be quite an accomplishment, considering that most of the games that we've seen were sub 15 minutes. In fact, the previous one was pretty much over in 6 minutes, practically.
I think, like, what was it? Game 1 was maybe 22 minutes. Game 2, I think, was 11 or 12. There's volatility with these particular civs on a hybrid map. We are going to get the dock opening coming in from Corvinus. Meanwhile, B, would you like to guess what he's likely to do?
Rush.
Docks.
No, he's gonna dock. Okay.
Yeah, he'll dock center. And then typically you'll just like fast feudal into Keshiks here, which is pretty nice. Jean hates Keshiks. Obviously, Knights can beat Keshik play, but Jean herself hates contesting heavy cavalry units because they can snipe either form. Wait, has he changed? He's changing his mind.
Okay, he's not gonna dock.
No, he's gonna. He just scouted that Corvinus docked, so he's now gonna turn this into an outpost rush.
All right, I kind of like this, partly because I feel like both of these players just embrace chaos, and I don't know if Corvinus is going to try to play anything standard, or this is just going to be some cheese anyways. Let's just say that the dock opening is definitely more on the usual side of things. He does have a front gold mine, though, so that's something that could be challenged by B. Corvinus does have a backup gold all the way at the back. That's pretty far away from the TC, so he would have to walk quite a bit to get to that backup.
We'll definitely at least be seeing Spearman to take out that dock play. You don't really want to contest Jean directly. This is one of the weird things, is like the first 2 spears, Jean doesn't have to care. You can't stop them getting enough gold, because she has 150 HP. So you don't even need to actually fight them. You just get stabbed in the face while you keep mining. So instead, he'll go for what he knows he can deny, which is going to be the long food. And that matters because, you do have the deer that start close to your base. But outside that, usually what you're going to see is players topping out about 8 sheep each. It's actually not that much on Kerlaugar. It's a very peaceful start for a game that's about to get chaotic.
Yeah, I was going to say that, like, 3 minutes in and nothing crazy happened. That's quite uncommon for a matchup between these two players.
Right? And you've got also the stream running, the river. It kind of gives that very peaceful kind of sound. If anyone in the chat is desperate to go to the toilet right now, that's probably just like triggered them, right? Because of the rush of water.
It's going to be quite a commitment from B in terms of spearmen. He's going up to 6 spears, and, well, considering it's a school of cavalry opening out here, That also means that he's going to have a response to the initial knights coming in. Quite a few villagers from Corvinus committed to this build-up, though. That's not something that you commonly see from Jean.
Well, Khan is going to be annoying. Yeah, so... I mean, I don't know if he's banking a lot maybe the initial knight. It's tricky, though, because the thing with Mongols is they can keep a really tight formation at this stage in the game. There is a trade-off, though, right? Like, because B chose to guard the gold with his TC, his deer that's meant to be really safe next to the town center is far, far away. So, like, there is a risk if B doesn't get a lot of sheep here, he may have a really short life to the push here.
Yeah, B is still in Dark Age, so let's not forget that. But I love how compact B's base is, by the way. He's got save gold, wood, and as long as he has sheep, he also has food under that town center. So it's actually going to be pretty difficult for any knights to hit his eco.
Wait, is B trying to shove the deer with the gut? I don't think that works,
so.
Right? I don't think they react to buildings.
I don't know.
If we check the deer to the left side, because he's got... Yeah, it just gave up and parked it.
The thing is that it might work, but the radius in which the units react might be very different. So, like, scouts actually have a much smaller radius than spearmen do. So I don't know if that plays a role. Nevertheless,
It's archership. The interesting part is spreading out the spearman lets it spawn. It wasn't coming out otherwise. So we better burn down the dock. The archership is now in play. Kind of crazy, actually. B just showing a lot of respect there because he was paranoid that it might be a demo.
Well, the dock goes down. Nice little micro there by Corvinus to do some more damage to the spears. A lot of these spears are badly beaten up now. But at the same time, Corvinus had to commit to a galley first. He still doesn't have a dock to drop off fish to. And at the same time, look at his eco. It's just not looking healthy right now. Jean is still level 1, by the way. And there are no knights coming out whatsoever.
And that's the tricky thing, right? Like, B, he stockpiled enough stone to go for an immediate Keshik pump. And now, because he's got the Khan here, like, B will see you trying to pull a villager. So he's moving in. He's dropping his own dock in the mid-river. Something that Corvinus isn't even looking for, by the way. Is he on the way now? Okay, the scout's going to reveal it, but I think that might be too late. This dock should go up from B. Wait, how did he get out here? B should have been able to see that, right? Because you've got, what, the Falcon plus the Khan himself. He might just dive in for the kill. Yep.
Yep.
He's gonna just
Here he
send
goes. He's looking for the kill. That's a low HP Vil. Gonna be a kill on that side. Question is what he has to concede for that. Villager is still alive.
No one got pulled. I mean, he could rush in with the spears again here. It's definitely worth it. In the meantime, B has just queued up his dock units, right? So we've got Sprinkle Ship coming out. Archer Ship on the way. The Sprinkle Ship is not going to be quick enough to stop this dock going up, though. He needs to commit the Spearman.
And a War Junk is now closing in. Oh!
Wait, he hasn't finished it. He hasn't finished it. This is going to be tight.
He does finish it just in time, but you also have to look at the cost. I mean, he had to pull Jeanne d'Arc to fight off a Springald ship. That's what we're looking at right now.
But the reason why that worked is actually the Archer Ship took the hit from the Springald. If it wasn't for that, that turning shot would have hit it. Demo Ship is now coming out. And we talked about this, right? It's like, this is what Corvinus wants. If you can turn it into a war exchange, you get big wads of XP like that.
Yeah, this is looking better and better for Corvinus. It's also a very chaotic game as things stand, which is once again something that he loves to embrace. Now, he's got level 2 Jean. One knight is going to fall here, but at the same time, Corvinus did have that fishing for quite some time. He still has an equal lead, 1 worker or so lead against his opponent.
He does need to be careful, though. Like, this is starting to turn into a bit of an overextension from Jean because there is now another Springald Ship in play. His Archer Ship is also overextended. He's desperate to get that 23 XP. More knights are going to be queued up. B hasn't added any more land units yet.
I think he's going to get that kill because this junk has nowhere left to go.
The villager's been pulled, but that's way too late.
Yeah, that's got to be late. And there's a demo coming in from the other side. If you damage this war junk a little, you can one-shot it with a demo. The galley's going to go down no matter what, but yeah, there is the demo coming in.
He wants to pull the villager.
That's going to be
He's
nasty,
just going to ignore it.
Oh, no.
I mean, B... No, he's getting baited too hard here, man. He won't die straight away. In fact, Jean can't find him more. She's going to die. She's actually going to die. He gets her outraged just in time, but there's no damage on this thing now. It's a wasted demo.
That was a sick dodge. No. What is happening?
I mean,
He needs to
just
commit
move
this
away.
before he loses the ship.
Just move away. What? He might still kill Jean. Divine Restoration, but that was a sick micro bead. Just getting the right angle before turning around. The Knight is going to try to burn this. If he keeps running away, I don't think she gets the XP. He's going to go back towards her, though. The Archer ship's now coming in, but more XP in the pocket of Corvinus. What is this game turning into?
I don't think I've ever been this confused in my life. I have absolutely no idea what I've just witnessed, but Corvinus comes away with some Jean XP at the very least out of that one. Now, it looks like we are going to have some Khan's Hunters coming in here for B, so he hasn't really been investing into land units recently. That's going to change very soon.
Yeah, I'm glad B is going Magadai, because I was wondering if we were going to see this eventually. You know, it's good at chasing down Jean. There's not many Knights. You could just go after land economy while you're fighting water as well, right? That's the big distraction tactic. Spears aren't going to be chasing. The Knight seem to be obsessed with the Khan. Okay. The Magadai are starting to arrive at the base. I think Corvinus might end up distracted by the two different engagements over here. Oh no, not 0 XP. Wait, what? Wait, did I miss a change? I don't remember that one. 12 XP. Okay, that's just kind of outrageous. 12 XP for the Khan is crazy high.
Villagers got a wall up, and that's huge. Little raid coming in here from B. Managed to pick off 2 villagers. Demo coming in!
Demo!
Oh!
But you did just give 16 XP to Jean.
It could have been a lot worse. Let's just say that. I miss the big demos from the old days.
Magadai are now turning up. The archers are starting to scale for Corvinus. B, you don't want to go full Magadai. Never go full Magadai. Your goal here is to try and get a smooth Keshik transition. Unfortunately, so far, these Magadai aren't really chopping away at the economy that well. Bit better now.
They've been picking up villagers left and right.
Oh, yeah, it's adding up now. So 6 worker kills to 1. Corvinus has still got fishing, but he's not got much, right? Yeah, he's gone for safety plays on both sides. So aggressive docks from B means if he gets fishing online, he has 2/3 of what's on the map.
One thing that's tricky for Corvinus is that he's going double docks, and his wood line is being harassed. So it's difficult for him to mass produce wood-heavy units like archers. And you're absolutely right. Mass foot archers will just eviscerate Magadai in an open fight. But at the same time, it's going to be difficult for Corvinus to really get those archer numbers up. Now he's queuing up 4 more, but while doing so, it means that he's going to have to essentially concede making ships for some time. He does have a good resource bank, though, so we might just see Corvinus going into Castle Age here.
I mean, what's the price going to be? The price of admission here could end up being quite high if Magadai keeps scaling, though. And it's one of those type of players that you might get Castle, but then you might not actually be able to do anything with it. He's losing additional workers. That's now 10 worker kills in total for B.
And this map is way too open for foot archers to just cover every single angle. And you can expect more run-bys like that. Maybe, I wonder if Corvinus would benefit from dropping a tower right next to that, you know, that angle from which B is coming in. And look at this, using the little birdie to get the scouting intel.
Yeah,
B is actually
Falcon
waiting for those archers to leave so he can swoop in with the Magadai.
And the tricky thing is he put an outpost up. If you check his vision, like by the time you see the Magadai, they should be in range now with the Khan Hunter to hit your villages. This is really difficult. In fact, the more he chops in this tree line, the more organic the raids are going to be. Jumps in again. Another big hit here. The archers just can't kill quick enough. He can go for the attack speed arrow. He's going to stand his ground and just raid. 11 worker lead now.
That is huge. Magadai are brutally expensive. So taking straight up fights against archers like this is actually super inefficient for B. And when you look at the destroyed value, it's actually neck and neck. But when it's all said and done, you're looking at Corvinus and he's now down by 13 workers. And it's not like he's got a devastating army that he can just counterattack with. I think that's the main thing here for B. He knows that he's going to lose some of the Magadai, so be it. But it's going to be difficult for Corvinus to retaliate for all those eco kills.
It feels like Corvinus, I don't want to say got pulled off of his time at Castle. It just actually feels like his economy has been that weak that he hasn't been able to complete it. And for B, this type of military lead, this type of eco advantage, he could now mirror Castle quite comfortably.
Yeah, and he will. He likely will. He knows fully well where Corvinus' army is at. Corvinus actually gets the blacksmith upgrades for the range attack, and that's part of the reason why he doesn't yet have the gold for going into Castle Age. In fact, he's adding more knights too. He's kind of in that in-between position where he's floating some resources, but he's also investing more into feudal age troops, so he isn't actually aging. I wonder if he's going to change his mind and just say, okay, let's double down on feudal and see if I can punish him for going Castle.
He just added in another stable. I think his only way out now is like he needs to do raid damage and then look for a raw institute play. But B, with such a substantial economy lead, Keshiks can just be the kings here.
Yeah, it's not a lot of Keshik though, and in general, B doesn't have a good standing army. If you can get some more knights out here, you could perhaps dive this position and at least chip away at some of B's eco. You kind of have to do that. You cannot go into Castle Age here down 13 eco.
It's a big ask, right? To have 4 knights dive under that economy doesn't seem real, but Corvinus, he's going around the back. The outpost is going to reveal what he's up to, though, so no cheap and easy shenanigans here. The berry workers should be able to pull away. Now, I mean, this is starting to kind of approach an overextension point, right? With the Keshik pump going. The Magadai are also coming in, so they're going to assist the fight. The Keshiks are just going to try to bait it all, but Focus Fire comes through. Corvinus, he's going to be able to hold his ground here for the time being. We have got the arrow slits getting added in, though.
I don't think B can stand and fight. At the same time, the Mangadai are the perfect units to intercept reinforcements with. So if you're B, I think you just kind of concede this position, use the Mangadai to intercept reinforcements, and then slowly clean this up. We have level 3. Level
3 shot is in. But as good as this usually looks in Feudal, she may have her work cut out for her this time.
Corvinus needs these reinforcements so bad. I think we are really looking at a game where one fight is going to decide who's going to win this.
Nice interception as well. The Magadai do find that second layer. Reinforcements that he's waiting for now. Yeah, I gotta say, if Corvinus does pull this off with level 3 Jean, there's no doubt in my mind they were right, she was a witch. Because this is a incredibly hard position to find yourself in. B, if he's just given 2 minutes of freedom here, the army's going to be too big even for level 3 Jean. Keshiks are going to dive in, though. Magadai getting targeted straight away by the knights, but the Yam should allow them to bypass. The Keshiks should mop it up. Instead, they couldn't waste all their time on Jean. What?
Yeah, I don't like this fight here. Although if Jean goes down, it's a different story, and she does.
Okay, but was that worth it more than, say, killing 2 knights and killing 5 more archers? I'm not entirely convinced.
You can actually pursue with the Mangadai now.
I mean, you say that, the Magadai just standing their ground. The knights are going to dive in. And remember, at this stage, the knights should never be able to reach you because of the Yam. It just feels like what B was doing there.
This. And this is huge for Corvinus. He pulls back multiple knights at low HP. B really needed those kills on those knights, and he didn't get them.
I think what B was doing here is why he wanted Jean gone so badly is so that he could just meat grind it, right? Because he should have the better economy. But it's such a high price to pay, man. And now back down to practically no Keshiks. Corvinus is going to continue to scale archers. I don't see a world in which he gets to go Castle Age still, but apparently he has a fighting chance here. It was an expensive buyback, but one that definitely felt worth it.
I think the trick here is that B has the better economy, but at the same time, he's making awfully expensive units. Keshiks are brutally expensive for a feudal age economy, and they're actually fairly easy to kill once the knights start charging in. At the same time, Corvinus' eco is just so exposed, and we haven't seen this for quite a while from BD's run-bys at the Mangadai. This is exactly how you want to use them. He also appeared to have caught Corvinus in the middle of a spearman transition here. He now knows that there is going to be spearmen coming out to deal with the Keshik.
Man, I feel bad for Corvinus. Kind of the same feeling of like, you know, I almost forgot about the Magadai because the fighting was on the other side. But we see what happens the moment that Corvinus has to take a breather. This type of punishment comes through. Fishing also now just getting shut out. Like, remember, the Magadai is still here, right? Like, at this stage, you could just keep rotating them around. Looks like Jean is going to attempt to dive underneath the TC. Remember, she has got a lot of missile resistance, but kind of seeker destroying, struggling to stick on top of targets, right? With Yam, it's usually quite easy to kite this out.
You gotta be careful. You don't want to lose Jean over here. Mangadai will be more than happy just chasing her. I think a lot of these knights are still badly beaten up. Is there a second group of Mangadai? I think there is. There must be a second group of Mangadai. Yeah,
they're waiting around the
south.
back. Yeah, at the berries. So like they're waiting for distraction, right? Instead, actually the Keshiks might go in first. A bit
That's
ambitious.
exactly it. Keshik's looking for a dive, and I think B is just looking to clump up those villagers and pull away the knights before trying to look for another dive.
I think ideally you just try to get castle age here gradually, right? Like just make sure you got more Keshiks than there are knights, and then you sneak into the veterancy. Like a Kurotai, because what happens with this type of eco league, Corv has to dive you. So like Kurotai will be a pivotal moment in that engagement. But hasn't quite reached that cavalry comp that makes him feel safe yet. More Magadai coming. I mean, the Magadai, I feel like there's a critical mass number in mind here, right? Where he doesn't care about archers, but this is a lot of
landmark
rams.
snipe? Against Mongols, it sounds very dumb, but it's a landmark snipe. I was going to say it's a huge investment for Corvinus.
Corvinus, please.
But this is his only shot.
Corvinus, Sean might be dead. She's almost down. Final arrow shot, not quite enough. The Rams are going to move in, though, and he is attempting a landmark victory.
Just roll away. That's why you have Mongols out here.
Oh, no, you're attacking me. It'd be a shame if I just moved my landmark. Sean on the back is also still being target fired down here. She has to move away. There's no way.
Yeah, there's the landmark running. You got to run with that landmark because, frankly, the Rams are enough to take this all out, and Mangadai will not be able to stand and fight. But B pulls away the deer stones, and that must be it.
No, the Magadai should be able to mop up the villagers here. In fact, I think we're about to have a peasant rebellion. Congrats, you have 32 workers. I have 68.
Yeah, this is gotta be over. The Knights aren't focusing enemy vills here, so it's not like B is losing very many of them.
I mean, there's only 2 Knights. What do you want from them, right? The wild part
You've got
is
some John's Raiders as well.
Yeah, but they're more for countering crossbows. I don't have that tag. So
I really wonder if Corvinus actually missed the landmark rolling away.
Maybe. I don't think he could have done anything about
because
it.
Because he didn't really react to it.
Yeah, but like if you don't kill the TC, you die while running past the TC, right? Like it's choose your poison at that stage. I don't think
he had an option. I'm just saying, like, it rolled away, so now all hope is lost.
His option was B picking a civ that can't move their landmarks, and yeah, X marks the spot where you die, I guess.
X. He cannot build the D because of the berries. That's how bad things are right now for him.
So XU. I'm not sure what that means, but okay, Corvinus. However, remember, guys, he may have no economy, no military, but Jean spawns for free. And she is level 3.
Somewhere out there, you still have 7 sad villagers hoping to make a comeback. Or at least finish that XU in the middle of the map. It's not going to be an XD because the berries are blocking it. Oh, look at that. She was on the berries, but there it is.
Corvinus is out. B will still get that opportunity to stay alive. A rematch for him against Vortex. This series that went all the way to 5 games for Corvinus. His chapter ends here.
Sad. But this was the textbook answer to the question, let's be honest. B was anticipated to be the favorite going into this series, and Corvinus getting 3-0'd out here. But to be fair, he stayed true to his standards, and he did deliver us an entertaining series. And, every single time you go into the Corvinus set, you gotta say you're going to see something fun.